It's time now for us to get in Mr. Sunil Gavaskar into the show. Mr. Gavaskar, thank you so much, sir, for joining us once again on the show. First up, you had mentioned yesterday that this pitch is looking like a batting beauty, and that's exactly what we saw on day two, and England took full advantage really of that. But were you really surprised when they continued batting post 500 and did not declare? Did it look like to you that they were playing for individual scores?
No, I don't think so. Because, look, this is a 5-day game, and the follow-on margin is 200. And I don't think 300 would have put too much pressure on India. But when it's near 400 to avoid the follow-on, then what it does, it puts pressure on the team that is batting second. It also allows the bowlers to have more fielders in catching positions for longer time. And I think England were helped by the fact that Joss Buttler was so aggressive. Because if he hadn't been aggressive, they wouldn't have been able to declare at the time that they did.
Right, now what we saw on day two, Mr. Gavaskar, before India came out to bat, that is, England scored 322 runs, India took 5 wickets. What was the impression that you got of the Indian bowling on day two?
Well, I think they looked tired. Yesterday was a hot day. Today it wasn't easy on them. I don't think a lot of the bowlers are used to bowling long spells. Maybe Bhuvneshwar Kumar. Pankaj Singh playing in a big match for the first time. Look, sometimes the tension can actually make you a little more tired. But he worked very, very hard. He was unlucky he hasn't got a wicket against his name. And Mohammad Shami, for some time now, has been looking just a little bit jaded. So I think they'll have to look at that aspect when they're looking at the team for the next Test match. Because not just here, but even in New Zealand in the second Test match, he looked just a little bit jaded, a little bit tired. So I don't think I'd blame the bowlers. It was a good wicket to bat on. Ian Bell batted really well, and then Joss Buttler made a stunning debut.
Right, so far, Mr. Gavaskar, would you say that the pitches that have been on offer in this particular tour of England, have they surprised you in the 3 tests that we've seen so far?
Well, to an extent, yes, because normally you find that there is a lot more movement. Maybe because India is in the second half and the weather is much better. There are no overcast conditions, excepting late in the evening today when India went into bat. So batting is that much easier when the sun is out on a pitch where the grass is dying. So I think maybe what we have seen earlier on, in earlier tours, and this tour, the main difference really is the weather.
Right, India, of course, are leading this series as of now 1-0. 2 more tests to play after this. In this test, this is a very crucial test, is it not, this third test? Who do you think really has the upper hand? Because if England go on to win this test, the series will be level at 1-1. If India win, then of course we'll probably see them go on to win the series.
Well, India can't win this test, that's for sure. Yeah. India cannot win this test because, England has scored 569. For India to get anywhere near that will take them a day and a half, which will mean that we will be going into day 4. So it's not going to be easy for India to pull off a win unless there is a sensational collapse somewhere. England certainly have the upper hand, having got 569 runs on the board, and they will keep the pressure on the Indians. The ball will keep on moving because weather conditions forecast over the next 2 days are overcast conditions, so it's not going to be easy for the batsmen. But the manner in which Murali Vijay has applied himself in the 2 test matches and the way he's leading deliveries around the off stump, I think that augurs well. I think he's been very, very impressive. Cheteshwar Pujara is due for a big score. So I'm kind of hoping that both these batsmen will take India to safety straight away in the morning and maybe to tea tomorrow.
So in other words, what you're saying, sir, is that the Indians should throw everything, including the kitchen sink, at it to try and play for a draw.
Well, they have to. They really have very little option because if they don't avoid the follow-on and give England a 200-plus lead, then they also give England a lot of time to bowl them out in the second innings. The important thing is that for India to save the match, they should bat at least 4.5 to 5 sessions. By that I mean that they should be occupying the crease in the first inning at least till lunch on day 4, if not more.
Right, one thing that I wanted to talk to you about, Mr. Gavaskar, is something that we spoke to you about yesterday as well. The slip fielding when it comes to Team India. You were saying that you were not very happy with what you saw today. How disappointing was it to see Shikhar Dhawan drop Joss Buttler in the slips? He was on, 20-odd runs at that time?
Well, look, if the catches are dropped in Test cricket, the best of fielders drop the catches. No issue with that. No issue with Ravindra Jadeja also dropping a catch because he's a very, very good fielder. These things happen in cricket. But my contention is that they have been told the wrong thing. The way they are standing in the slips means that any sharp low catch below the knee towards the ankle or landing just in front of the ankle, they are not going to be able to get it because their positioning, which they've been told, which they've been taught, is completely wrong. I think what they need to do is to go and have a look at past videos at how Rahul Dravid, how VVS Lakshman stood in the slips, how low they were standing in the slips. Look, it's easier to get up than to bend down. And that is what Rahul Dravid and VVS Lakshman did, and that's why they were able to snap such wonderful catches. It's a very simple thing. And with Rahul in England, being the consultant to the Indian team, I think all that has to happen is for them to go to him and make him demonstrate how to stand in the slips. And I think, you will have a lot better catching from the next game on.
Right. One final question, sir, before we let you go. Going ahead, of course, for the last 2 test matches of the series, would you perhaps look at bringing in someone like a Gautam Gambhir, who has been picked for this series but hasn't played yet, in place of perhaps Shikhar Dhawan?
But too early because there's one more innings and Shikhar can come good in the second innings. At the moment, is low on confidence and therefore feeling a little sensitive around the off stump. Much the same way that Alistair Cook's been low on confidence but came back. Right. So I think Shikhar needs a bit of luck to come his way. And if that comes through, maybe he'll score runs in the second innings. The problem with a tour like this is that there are no matches, no first-class games in between test matches. So the out-of-form player cannot get those matches to get his form. And the fringe players, the players who are sitting out of the playing 11, do not have the opportunity to show that they are in form and they are capable of replacing the guys who are not playing well. So I think it's a modern tour. So that's how tours are. But to have 5 straight test matches without a single first-class game in between doesn't really help a touring team when it's struggling for runs or struggling to get wickets.
All right, so Shikhar Dhawan clearly has his task cut out, and so does the entire Indian team when it comes to saving this particular test match. And Mr. Gavaskar has already told them what exactly they need to do. I hope they are listening. Mr. Gavaskar, thank you so much, sir, for joining us. We'll, of course, come back to you again for day 3 of the Southampton test.